Hi. In this short video series, I'd like to provide some clarity on the facts surrounding asylum seekers and refugees in Australia, as I believe that the distorted lies by our government and misrepresentation by some media outlets is creating harmful information to be spread to Australia's citizens. In the first video, we looked at Australia's flawed current policies and false information being spread. In this video, we'll talk about how your elected officials spend your tax dollars on mistreating asylum seekers and torturing people, including children in detention. And in the final video, we'll discuss the reasons why people come here in the first place and how we can be a more compassionate country. With regards to boats arriving into Australian waters, I have to start here by saying that the government term border protection is absurd. It implies that boat people somehow are a threat to us. It was a term coined by the Howard government as they began the idea that refugees would be a risk to local communities. This, of course, is what processing centers are for, to weed out the tiny number of disingenuous asylum seekers, not to punish everyone for the egregious act of attempting to save their own lives. The fact that national security is now tied together with those seeking asylum has simultaneously heightened anxiety about possible terrorism, while appearing to be taking care of matters with the government's Operation Sovereign Borders, a classic political trick of creating a problem and then providing the solution in order to look like a hero. If you care to look, it's easy to see through this smokescreen, which further reveals the true mess of how Australian government and military have dealt with the asylum seeker issue. By misleading the public, manipulating and exaggerating the threat of terrorism, shutting out journalists from reporting on border protection and detention centers, threatening anyone who talks about it with a 2-year jail sentence, spying on other government officials, overstepping its boundaries when sending boats away, unethically sending asylum seekers onto poor and corrupt regimes who are less equipped to deal with refugees but still end up taking them in, all the while breaching 11 international laws to do with refugee treatment and maritime law activity by allegedly paying people smugglers to ship people back to Indonesia, strip searching peaceful protesters upset about children in detention, posting advertising in war-torn countries warning people not to come, and being complicit in the torture and abuse of people they have detained. Phew, that's a lot of lying, bullying, and cruelty. Whether or not we can control the decision that asylum seekers make to jump on a boat is irrelevant. It's the fact that we choose to lock them up and terribly mistreat them, which is something that we have full and conscious control over and is utterly reprehensible. The treatment of boat people in detention is horrific. We've recently heard how women are raped and guards pay for sexual favors and then videotape them. We know of hunger strikes and people sewing their mouths up. We hear about people dying due to inadequate medical care. We know that innocent children make up a large contingent of the imprisoned. And then there is the so much we don't hear about because the government has sanctioned the suppression of media access to these areas. The realities that we don't know about might be much worse. Is this the type of government we want representing our country? And do we as Australians want to go further down this embarrassing road in history as the most heartless and selfish citizens, lacking in compassion and condoning abuse and torture of vulnerable people through our inaction? All the facts I've provided in this video are publicly available and the opinions expressed are my own. My hope is that by shedding some more light on this issue, we'll be able to pressure our leaders to act in a way that reflects the true heart and acceptance for the stranger that I know this country is capable of. Please add your own voice to the conversation and feel free to share this video. Watch my next video where we discuss why people decide to flee their country to get to ours and why it is important that we welcome them with open arms.